Welcome to Political Bedlam. I'm Chandler Ogle.
And I, as always, and forever, am Cass Wantland.
I like that. Forever Cass Wantland. I hope he's forever Cass Wantland. Don't change.
Well, as long as I don't witness a really violent crime, I should be me.
No, just
quite a while.
Go into WitPro and just be like, hey guys, Cass Wantland. You hear that name? I'm not going to change it. There's nothing you can come up with that's better. Well, guys, we're going to try something a little bit different. We've only done about 5 episodes, so we're still kind of really playing around, trying to find out what we are, what we want to do.
And most importantly, we owe you nothing.
Yeah, you're owed nothing. This is about us. It's always been about us. Actually, the end goal is really about advertising money. It's all about money.
Oh, it's always about money.
But we're secondary. And then it's you guys, maybe like 5th or 6th on the list.
5th or 6th.
5th or 6th. Well, we're going to try and talk a little bit about fictional universes, and just we're gonna put like politics and discuss just realities, physics, whatever. We're going to ruin your fiction. We are going to put all the adult stuff into the children's stuff that you like to partake in.
Oh, I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, we're gonna ruin things. We'll have some segments. We're gonna talk. I don't know. I want to talk everything Lord of the Rings to Marvel to whatever, and just kind of talk about
Canada.
Canada, other fun fictional places. I want to just kind of do fun stuff, and make it like adults. Like we were talking the other day about work. We did a whole segment of, hey, what political party or what political
ideology
would Batman believe in? Just fun stuff like that. Probably make that a segment, something to that effect. But we should probably talk Deadpool 2, strike while the iron is hot.
I think we should, because Deadpool 2 came out, and here's the thing, Solo's come out since Deadpool's come out, but no one's talking about Solo except for people who are required to talk about Solo, so we're going to keep talking about Deadpool.
Sorry, Solo.
It's a sequel to 2014? 2015?
Right.
Yeah. Deadpool 1 came out, was a sleeper hit. They released it in February because they didn't think it would do well. They allowed them to make it Fox Studios allowed them to make an R-rated movie, and they didn't really care what they did with it because they thought it would fail. So the director and Ryan Reynolds got to do whatever they wanted, and it paid off big time.
Wasn't it the best-selling R-rated movie of all time?
It was second only to Passion of the Christ.
Oh.
And then...
That's rated R?
Passion of the Christ?
I didn't know that.
Have you seen Passion of the Christ?
I've seen it, but I didn't think it was R.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You need to go rewatch Passion of the Christ.
I probably do.
It is a depressing film. But Deadpool is not, and neither was Deadpool 2. I think it came back with most of what made the first one work and some new surprises. Didn't hold back. It evolved the humor. It didn't repeat all the same jokes like a lot of comedies do. The one that's coming to mind is Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of repeat the same jokes. It works. I love the sequels to Austin Powers.
Credit where credit is due.
Credit where credit is due. But Deadpool 2 upped the ante. It just did a lot of really cool, weird stuff that it's dumb. The movie's really dumb, but in the best possible way.
Oh, the best possible way. Before we really get into the meat of it, though, we were talking about this earlier. An important thing we need to kind of bring up is kind of the background of Deadpool, so to speak, and to kind of say that Deadpool is a Fox Marvel production. A lot of things we talked about Infinity War, we talked about Ragnarok on the old podcast, all those characters, Captain America, Thor, Scarlet Witch, all those characters, whatever you think of, really are owned by I don't know who they're owned by, but they're the MCU.
Disney.
Okay, they're owned by Disney.
Yes, Disney owns the film rights to every character except X-Men, or any X-Men.
Deadpool's a Fox.
Deadpool is Fox. Deadpool's considered an X-Man.
Yeah, because he's a mutant.
Because he's a mutant, yeah.
Fox owns the right to the word mutant, if I'm right. Correct? Is that
correct,
right?
Yeah. Marvel can't say mutant.
So break this down for me. You have the professorial knowledge.
Well, let's get serious. Let me pull out my Frasier voice. Back in the 90s, Marvel was doing really poorly. There had been a comic book bubble burst because they tried releasing all of these special edition covers that people were buying like hotcakes because they thought they'd be worth something. But like any bubble, they overprinted. The comics ended up not being worth anything, and people just stopped buying comics. So Marvel entered bankruptcy, and to become solvent again, they sold the film rights to all of their characters. Most famously, they sold the X-Men and Fantastic Four to Fox and Spider-Man to Sony. These are different deals, so the legalese between each different party is different. But over the years, Marvel proper was able to reobtain the film distribution rights to a lot of C-list characters like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America.
Not C-list anymore.
Not C-list anymore. No, they made money moves, and
shout out Cardi B.
Shout out Cardi B. And they were able to create the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Marvel's most popular characters, the X-Men and Spider-Man, are conspicuously absent because they belong to Sony and Fox. So
let's talk light at the end of the tunnel for a second, because everyone who's been paying attention knows that Spider-Man has been allowed to play in the MCU. Sony and MCU are kind of in deals. What can we look for to maybe see Deadpool interacting with our MCU characters?
Well, as a lot of people know, that Fox is like trying to sell themselves, and Disney was in talks to buy them most recently. There have been some complications with that deal. It now looks like Comcast might purchase them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that deal is in trouble, but potentially Disney still will acquire Fox. Now, the fun side of that is, oh my god, all the Marvel characters will get to be together for the first time in forever, with the exception of Namor, but no one cares about Namor but me. But everyone else will be with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Disney. I mean, that's not to mention the horror that is the merger between two of the largest entertainment conglomerates in the United States.
I can't even imagine the implications in other fandoms.
Well, I mean, like, Alien will go to Disney. That's the one that pops in my head first. So Avatar would go to Disney.
Would you venture so far as to say Disney World will be a lot more exciting place as soon as this happens?
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what like an alien ride made by Disney's Imagineers would be like.
Can they just buy the whole city of Orlando? Can we just say that this is your city, Disney?
Yeah, no, it's really fun to think about until you think about like the horrors of Monopoly and Conglomerate.
Oh yeah.
But if you just think about the fandom stuff, it's really cool.
Which we're gonna try to think of.
We're gonna try just to think about that and
we're
not
children again.
We're children again. We're not gonna think about the horrific implications of the political philosophy and the ideology and the sheer power of the Disney Corporation. But anyway, there's this great meme of Thanos collecting Infinity Stones, but Thanos' face has been, Mickey Mouse has been superimposed over it, and the Infinity Stones are CBS, Marvel, the Henson Company, Pixar, and then the fifth one is Fox, and he's dropping it into his gauntlet. And
horrifying.
Yeah. Not CBS, ABC, but you know that. So yeah, Fox is able to make X-Men movies and Fantastic Four movies, but
can you go into detail what you're telling about the other day about how Fox is on a contractual schedule? They have to release movies even if they're bad.
Yeah, well, they have to release movies every so many years between the release of their last movie in order to keep the rights to those characters. That's why they released that Fantastic Four movie a couple years ago, because if they didn't, the rights would have reverted back to Disney. And Fox still thinks they are profitable. That's a profitable IP. Now, they did sell back to Disney Daredevil. Daredevil was owned by Fox.
Okay.
And so was, I think, Hellblazer? Skull Rider? What is his name?
Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider, thank you.
Well, I haven't seen any new Ghost Rider stuff.
I don't know if that was Fox or not, but Ghost Rider was eventually sold back to Disney.
It would make sense that it was Fox because all those like Ghost Rider and Daredevil, all those like early aught Marvel movies that came out all around the same time, I think those were all Fox.
I think they were too. Hulk was Universal and Spider-Man was Sony, but I think everything else was Fox. But the thing about X-Men is like they can kind of like be their own universe on their own. They don't need to necessarily mix with everybody else because there's still a lot of drama there.
Other than Deadpool, they really do not have any big hitters, man.
Well,
Deadpool saved X-Men. I really think
Deadpool saved X-Men. That's true, but like, okay, like the narrative conceit of X-Men is that these are a bunch of superpowered beings that are persecuted. How does that work in the Marvel universe where these characters are seen as heroes and gods?
Yeah, no, I actually
it's weird.
It would be weird. I think it would add like some much needed depth and like darkness to the MCU.
Yeah, the X-Men movies would have to be darker because just by their nature they can't be like
and watching
fun
other
romps.
Characters interact with them, I think would add more character depth to everyone. Like having to watch Captain America make a difficult decision on just like the power of some mutant boy, which brings us to the ethics of Deadpool 2. That's what we're going to talk. Going to ruin your childhood fun.
Yeah, spoiler alert?
Yeah, let's go ahead and just spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Deadpool 2, go see it. What are you doing?
It's great. It's great.
Use your Movie Pass to go see it.
Use Movie Pass because Movie Pass is an excellent product that continues to surpass our expectations. They are the #1 in the industry. There's a bunch of independent theaters that have their own system. Don't do it. Do Movie Pass because you will get the most comic book bang, zip, pow, and pop for your buck.
Big letters.
Big letters,
Big
yeah.
letters.
Yeah, so...
I bought Meredith one for Mother's Day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's such a great gift.
Oh, it was awesome. She goes see movies a lot. So
That's great.
Yeah, so it is awesome. Like, she got within 200 yards of the theater. She checked in, and then she it's amazing. It's amazing. We got a discount on snacks.
Yeah,
Movie Pass. I don't even
Pass.
go see movies that much, but I was looking at it. It was $10 for a ticket, but it's $9.99 to get a Movie Pass.
If you see a movie a month, you're saving money.
You're saving money. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I don't understand how they're turning a profit, but I'm glad they offer the service.
No, I don't either. I think they're turning a profit. I think it hurts the movie theaters, but because they can offer a discount on snacks. But then I think Movie Pass reimburses them for the snacks.
$9 for a large popcorn. The movie theaters could be hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
This podcast is not brought to you by movie theaters. Movie theaters, lower your prices, you jerks.
Boo.
Boo.
No, we understand the economy's hard. You're doing what you got to do.
Well, they are bringing more diverse products. You can get Starbucks now at your local cinema.
I always get a coffee.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The great thing, maybe I shouldn't say this to the movie theaters, but when you do have Starbucks, I just get a tall espresso and I don't get any candy or anything because that's all I want. All I want is coffee. Deadpool. Deadpool 2 opens with Deadpool traveling the world, killing a bunch of gangsters.
Two Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, as he is apt to do. Great soundtrack, like always.
Absolutely. And then he comes home to his girlfriend on his anniversary, and his girlfriend is killed immediately. And this is something in the comic book world called fridging. And fridging is when something happens to a main character's romantic partner that devoids them of any character growth with the exception of propelling the main character forward. This is generally seen as something that you should not do because it's exploitative. I didn't notice it until the film was done and my boyfriend yelled at me about it.
We're going to have to get him on here at some point. He's a comic nerd to the extreme.
To the extreme. Like, he makes me look like a casual fan. I thought I was like a really big fan until we started dating. I am not. But anyway, and so she's dead in the beginning, so Deadpool is like down on his luck and he's, trying to regain his status and his will to live and fight because he can't kill himself because he's immortal. So he meets up with the X-Men, particularly Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Awesome.
Who are great characters. And they go to find a distressed mutant, a boy. What is his name? Russell, yes.
Great kid. And he's a little rough around the edges, which is perfect for Deadpool. And if Deadpool's going to care about kids, it's going to be a kid that quotes 90s rap and cusses. So the kid was perfect.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Yeah, says that in his little adorable Kiwi accent a bunch of times.
Oh my god, and it's weird and wonderful, yeah. But the kid is he's at an orphanage for mutants that is revealed later. Well, it's revealed immediately that the orphanage is abusive, but it's revealed later in the movie that it's like a
it's a Guantanamo Bay for children.
It's Guantanamo Bay for children. It takes a lot of it harkens to like reparative therapy centers, which if you don't know what those are concentration camps where parents will send their gay children to get quote unquote fixed. Yeah. And they don't work, and the kids that go to those places usually have horrific, mental scarring. And that's kind of... The X-Men has always been a metaphor for oppressed minorities. Yeah. And since Bryan Singer made the movies, the X-Men movies have always kind of leaned on the gay thing. Gay theme, rather. And this movie leaned into it hard, which was actually... One of the critiques I had was it's a little jarring to see that heavy a theme played out intensely in such a lighthearted, funny movie.
Right, and it wasn't even just thematic; it was aesthetic. Like at some point,
oh, very aesthetic.
You'd see on the top the banners that said "humankind, not mutant kind." It harkens back definitely to like that, like 60s, 70s. Unfortunately, still going on today, but we stereotype it as back then, like anti-gay conversion.
Yeah, like imagine like if Westboro Baptist Church had a camp for gay kids. That's what this place was.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Yeah, it's still this podcast. It's still me. I'm not going to let anyone be happy. But outside of this like really dark theme, it's just a fun romp. And Deadpool and the kid end up being sent to a prison called the Icebox, where mutants wear these collars that depower them, which is kind of a series-breaking device, but don't worry about it because that's not what Deadpool's about.
Well, they openly acknowledge plot holes all throughout the movie.
All throughout the movie. And like all X-Men movies, you can't care about continuity because it doesn't matter. These movies do not feed into one another. They just make the movie that they want to make at the time.
No, I mean, don't the collars at least carry some of the elements of those needles, the cure and the needles that was in X3?
I mean, maybe.
Similar, but that was more permanent. But I mean, it's similar in concept.
But I guess. But
X3, X-Men 3 was the third one that came out in 2005 of the ones with Patrick Stewart and Halle Berry.
That's still my least favorite X-Men movie.
Yeah, they in the third one they have these. I guess it's a serum. It's chemicals that will go into a mutant and it will render them powerless forever. That is what I'm bringing up for
right. And I don't know, there's really no narrative callback to that. It just does the same thing, and these can come off of you and you get your powers back, and it's best not to think about the other X-Men movies except for X-Men Origins Wolverine, but we'll get there in a bit.
It's weird that they flirt with series-breaking concepts a
lot.
A lot. It's weird that they do that.
Well, because it's not a series. The X-Men movies are just individual films that are not built on previous individual films.
Don't get me started on Stuart McAvoy. Don't even get me started on.
I'm going to get you started.
That nightmare. Oh.
What did you think about the cameo of the current X-Men team?
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. That cracked me up.
So tell everybody what the scene was.
There was a scene. Well, and to call back in the first Deadpool, Deadpool is known as being a character that really breaks the fourth wall a lot, and he's at the mansion in upstate New York, and he's looking around. He's only seen Colossus and Nega Teenage Warhead. He's like, huh. Weird how it's only just the two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford to hire any other X-Men. So that's in the first one. In the second one, he's walking around, he's saying something to the same effect, and he's like, where's the rest of the team? I'm here now. I want to be an X-Men. Where's the rest of the team? And he walks past an open door, and the current team of McAvoy, Quicksilver, all of them are just are getting ready to have a meeting, and they slowly close the door, not wanting to be seen by Deadpool. And I was the only one who laughed in the theater because it was a small theater, but it was perfect.
I thought it was hysterical. The people I was with thought it was really funny. And the next X-Men movie stars that team, and I think that's why they were available, because they were filming at the same time.
Oh, okay.
The next one is Dark Phoenix, and
that one actually showed some promise. There hasn't been a good main series X-Men movie, in my opinion, in a while.
Let's run down them. Let's name them from the first one to the Deadpool 2, and name which ones are good or bad. X-Men 1. Good. Dated, but good. X-Men 2. Okay. Still X-Men 2 is my favorite. It's the best. Too. And then X-Men 3. I
think they got sequentially worse.
You think they got worse? I think they have weird ups and downs.
Okay, you think X2 was the high point?
I think X2 was the high point.
Original trilogy?
Yeah, and then X3 was just absolute garbage. Then was Origins Wolverine, which is so bad it's good. It's like Batman and Robin, Schumacher Batman.
It could have been great, and they just...
could have been mediocre. It was. The thing is, in the worst X-Men movies, or the ones that I think are the worst, they always have these scenes that are arguably the best scenes in any X-Men movie.
What are you referring to in that one?
Well, in X-Men 3, there is a scene where Angel is in the bathroom cutting off his wings as a child.
Oh yeah.
And his dad comes in and he's in tears. And he's like, "I didn't want you to see me like this." And it's
powerful.
Yeah, very good. And then the rest of the movie is just utter garbage. And then in X-Men Origins Wolverine, the scene where it's Wolverine and Sabretooth running through all the different wars. It's
scene.
So cool.
I hoped you were going to say that.
Yeah, it's the best scene.
They show him, since they're mutants that have healing factor, they don't really age. So it shows them going from,
Vietnam, World War II.
From the Spanish-American
War.
all the way to, like, Desert Storm. I don't know if it goes that far, but it goes to at least Vietnam. So you see them go through, like, rifles to muskets to... It's epic.
Yeah, and then that should have just been the movie.
It should have been a movie.
We should have just been able to see that.
Follow them around in different wars. That would be awesome.
And then...
Because what's after X-Men Origins Wolverine? Was that First Class?
No, after Origins Wolverine... Was it First Class?
I don't know. Let's pull this up.
Let's pull it up, yeah.
We're going to play a friendly game of who can pull stuff up faster. It's iPhone versus Linux Mint on a bad computer. Ooh, my browser's not even pulled up yet. Not a good sign. I don't have Cass's Wi-Fi password.
Silly shoe. Oh, wait, no, don't. Never mind. Take that out. No, it was X-Men First Class.
Okay, was it X-Men First Class?
Yeah,
right
X-Men
after?
First Class.
How big of a gap was that? Because I felt like that felt like several years.
2009 was Origins, and then 2010 was nothing because they screwed up. And then 2011 was First Class.
What do you think about First Class?
I like it a lot. It's a lower key movie. It's really pretty. I think that they cast it perfectly. I think James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are perfect stand-ins for Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart,
who are old guys,
who are also perfectly cast.
So
like the X-Men movies have always been cast really well.
They have,
even if they're bad.
And don't even get me started on Kevin Bacon was fantastic.
Oh, and was such a weird role.
So weird.
And then after that was the Wolverine, which was fine.
I liked the Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. And then X-Men: Days of Future Past, which I liked.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Deadpool.
Future Past got outshined by a bunch of MCU movies that came out that year.
Yeah, it's hard to compare. That was 2014.
I think that was the year. I think that was when Civil War came out.
Civil War was 2016. So
was it?
2014 was
maybe a regular Avengers.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, Guardians fantastic.
And Guardians was so much better than Future Past. And Future Past was pretty good. I liked that. It just you knew it didn't mean anything because these X-Men movies don't build on each other. They just come out.
Right.
So
we got Future Past, and then what?
Then Deadpool.
Then Deadpool was great.
Fantastic. And then X-Men Apocalypse, which was nothing.
Which was really not great. Then Logan, which was great. I saw it on your... yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, what do you think of Logan?
I love Logan.
Logan is probably my favorite.
It was an excellent farewell to both those characters.
Yes, absolutely.
We're referring to... Hugh Jackman's... That's his last time he said he was going to play Wolverine until...
unless they ask me to come back and fight the Hulk, I'm not coming back for
He
Wolverine.
basically says unless the mutants are allowed to play
in the MCU. Yeah. So which, I imagine that even if they do, Disney would want to recast just for the sake of cleanliness. But I think just let Hugh Jackman fight the Hulk.
I feel like it'd be really... Whoever is being casted as Wolverine after Hugh Jackman is going to have a rough time.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman is one of those characters who's like embodied that role. I think...
Was that his first real big role?
That was his breakout starring role, yeah. Because he was a song and dance man. He was famous for Oklahoma.
He was great in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, he's great in everything he is, even if the movies he's in are bad.
Prestige is up there.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my, are you serious?
Yeah, I haven't.
Prestige is Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale as competing magicians who both talk to Tesla. Tesla's a main character. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
That's some nonsense, but I will check that out.
You need to see it, dude. It's so good.
I will check that out. And then after that came Deadpool 2.
Yep, Deadpool 2.
And
what do we got planned ahead of us? We got Dark Phoenix coming next.
And then we have New Mutants. And then there's nothing else on the slate because Fox doesn't know if they're going to exist. And after that.
So New Mutants, when's New Mutants scheduled for release?
New Mutants is supposed to come... Dark Phoenix is 2019 and New Mutants is 2019.
I don't know if... Fox might get bought out before then. Man.
Those movies are finished, so they...
Oh, they're finished?
They're finished, so unless
they're
Fox gets bought...
They're not going to shelf a movie.
I could see them doing home video.
Okay, I can see that too.
Because, they can make money off of those. Mm-hmm. Disney could, and Fox can as well. Well, the thing is, people keep saying, why is Fox making all these movies? But the more money Fox makes, the more Disney has to pay. So Fox wants Dark Phoenix to be good. They want New Mutants to be good. So we'll just see what happens. New Mutants is kind of this, it's a horror style movie. If Logan was like a Western, Deadpool is an action comedy, then New Mutants is a horror movie. And the trailer for it looks pretty scary. I mean, it looks like generic, nothing new horror. Like, it looks no different than The Conjuring. But
we're gonna pause it, and Chandler.
Go watch the New Mutants trailer.
Going to see both of these trailers real quick, and then you're gonna see both these trailers. Then we can flesh that out a little bit more. Okay. So, still trying to figure out this audio recording thing, but we are back from our break.
We're rocking it.
We're rocking it. By the way, just a little update in the middle of the show. Our producer is busy with some other stuff. Business has taken off for him.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Jay Sly, doing well. He's going to be stepping out for a little bit to handle some more music, which is what he's really passionate about. But he still said he would edit some of our last few episodes, and he's going to give us that theme music if we decide to continue kind of going forward with this theme. I don't know where we're going to go, but regardless, he will. Okay, it's being weird, but you know what? Yeah, way to go, Jay Slide. Anyway, just saw that trailer. You were right. Very, very, very horror feel to it.
Yeah, I think, and this is one of the reasons I don't want X-Men to go back to Disney, is because while Disney can make a great product, it is a very homogenous product. And the X-Men movies, while certainly aren't as good consistently, they've shown that they're willing to experiment, as evidenced with Logan and Deadpool, which are two of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Logan is... I mean, I cried at Logan in the theater. I didn't expect to, but when she is giving the eulogy after they bury him and she's quoting Shane, I broke down in the theater.
How much of that do you think is due to the fact that Fox may quickly become insolvent? Just their willingness to experiment, I mean. That's a good point. I think Fox is a lot less focused when it comes to Disney because Fox makes, I think, a good chunk of its money and probably has a bigger return on investment on its news and sports corporations. Because the Fox isn't selling those. Fox News would still be a part of Fox Corporation, and so would Fox Sports. I think Fox News gets more viewers than any other, like all the other ones combined.
I know that, all the other news stations, and I know that O'Reilly was the highest watched cable program when it was on.
Thank you, baby boomers.
And he got me too. But, so I think that's what they want to focus on, and so they're trying to, they just don't want to do it anymore, so they want to sell all of their other entertainment properties. I'm surprised they're selling them in bulk. I mean, Disney put up the money for them all, so I guess that's why. But Disney would get, The Simpsons, Family Guy.
Whoa, really?
Married with Children. And the reason Disney wants to do this isn't because Disney's a money-hungry corporation. Haha, that's a joke. That's exactly why they're doing it. But they're releasing a streaming service, and they want to expand their catalog that they can have on that streaming service. And Fox would give them some of the greatest movies of all time. The original Star Wars movies, which Disney still, even though they're making the new movies, they still don't have the distribution rights to the old movies. So
that's a lot of the stuff that I watch, right? Like in between Disney and Fox. If they moved all their stuff off of Netflix and made a competing streaming service, and that's a lot of the stuff I watch on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, that would mean that Deadpool and Jessica Jones would move over to that streaming service eventually. I know they've agreed to keep it on Netflix for a little while, but...
I thought they were Netflix originals.
They're Netflix originals, but that's only because Disney didn't have their own place to put them. But Disney also spreads their stuff out. They've got stuff on ABC, which of course they own. They have stuff on Hulu, which of course they partially own. Hulu's weird. And Fox actually owns a huge chunk of Hulu. So if Disney bought Fox, they would own a majority of Hulu, because Hulu is owned by all the TV networks.
So why would they just turn Hulu into their own?
That's the question, isn't it? So they could easily just turn Hulu into their own thing, but I think they would still...
They could just scrap Hulu.
They could just scrap Hulu, yeah. So, which I still don't think they would do, because Hulu's profitable in its own way, and I think the other networks would have their own shit. They have still a strong enough share to... I don't understand exactly how it works, but they would still be able to keep that going, because Disney releases stuff on Hulu exclusively. A lot of their cartoon movies are on Hulu. A lot of them are on Netflix. they spread it around. I would only be interested in the Disney subscription service if it had everything. I don't want to have to wait because some months it'll have this and then that'll be taken off and then another month it'll have this. I want it to release everything that Disney owns. That means every old CBS show that they own. For some reason, the only one that's coming to me is Roseanne. It would have to have every episode of Roseanne. No, political charged thing intended there. But, every Disney movie and not just the cartoons. I want to see all the pirates. I want to see all the old classics like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Darby O'Gill and the Little People, Pollyanna. I don't care about Pollyanna, but that's my point is I would want it to have everything.
You want to be able to watch Pollyanna if you could. You wouldn't necessarily watch Pollyanna.
Exactly.
You want the capability.
I want the capability because, dang it, I'm a millennial and I deserve it.
Yeah. Shout out to Haley Mills.
Shout out to Haley Mills.
She's still alive. I don't know. That's probably a dark place to take that. Let's look that up. America's Sweetheart for a long time, but those movies came out in the 50s, I thought.
I'm surprised you know that.
Oh, dude, I got all kinds of just random, non-profitable, non-job market-worthy knowledge.
Haley Mills is, drumroll please, she's alive. No, wait. Wait for it.
Apologize to the Mills estate.
She is 72. She is alive and kicking.
She's not that old.
No, she has another 20, 30 years left.
Well, she's rich, probably longer than that.
Yeah, for real. Because the key to a long and healthy life is money.
Is money.
It's money.
So please spread our podcast places so that we can live.
I would like to live to 250.
That would be great.
Or at least long enough until they can plug my brain into a computer.
You just don't want to die, period.
I just don't want to die. That sounds stressful.
It
just sounds like a lot.
It does. It just sounds like too much. We're millennials. We can't take the stress.
Planning my estate, being on a deathbed, having people come say hi to me.
Yeah. Oh, no. I can barely even get off the couch. You really want to think we really want to die?
No.
It sounds like so much.
It's too much.
Too much.
I don't want to do anything, including absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So
classic millennial conundrum.
But yeah, so that's kind of the impetus for Disney wanting to buy Fox, and everyone on the internet talks about, of course, it'd be so cool because Marvel would get all of their properties back. But that's the Disney is not as concerned about that because one, they're making plenty of money on the Marvel properties they have, and two, they could potentially stand to make much more on that streaming service than I think we can comprehend. So yeah, that's where Disney's at.
I just want to watch a whole movie of the Hulk versus the Juggernaut. That's all I want to watch.
Oh well, the Hulk would. We'll get into that later.
No, we will get into that later.
Yeah, we'll do a versus episode.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. We can talk versus.
Mm-hmm.
We'll announce beforehand at the end. We'll be like, next week we're going to do this, and Cass is taking this dumb side, and I'm taking this side that's clearly going to win.
Well,
that's how we'll frame it. That's how I'll frame it.
That's how you'll frame it, and you have much more power over this than I do, and that's by design. I don't want any more responsibility than I already have.
Cass is here to record and to contribute those golden pipes, and then Jeremy sends it off to the internet, and Chandler.
Jeremy's the gatekeeper.
Jeremy is the gatekeeper. Chandler will now be trying to produce and get anywhere near the level of skill Joey has.
Do you want to be the official Mao of the podcast?
I'll be the Mao of the podcast. All
right, Chandler is the official Mao Zedong of the podcast. We're going to take a great leap
forward, bro. We're going to take a great leap forward.
The future is here.
Is here. Now go to your rice patties and work.
We won't have to kill any of you. But yeah. So that's Disney's MO.
So let's launch into, since we started talking about Deadpool, I think we got some good background about just kind of where the properties are dispersed. Let's talk the ethics of Deadpool 2, specifically the motivation of the villain, who I guess there were kind of multiple villains. It was kind of disputed. Like there was, first it was Cable, and then it was the kid, and then it was, actually it's this pedophile-looking guy who's torturing the kid. I guess it kind of ultimately lands at the pedophile-looking guy's feet.
Ultimately, yes. The pedophile-looking guy who kind of reminded me of a character on SNL called Father Swim Coach Scoutmaster, which was exactly what it sounds like. It was during Seth Meyers' run, I believe. But to talk about the latest allegations, or to talk about the latest in children ethics, is Father Swim Coach Scoutmaster.
Father Swim Coach Scout.
I think he appeared once, and then they're like, "No, let's not do that." But yeah, this villain is just like a Jerry Falwell type what's his name? The guy who does the Fred Phelps from he's a religious zealot who believes that
Michael
mutants
Phelps'
are
father.
Yes, Michael Phelps, famed swimmer, is of course heavily affiliated
progeny of the West Brother Baptist Church.
Yeah, absolutely.
You heard it first here.
And
see you in court, Michael.
Yeah. Please, that'd be a great way to meet him.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. Hi, Michael, we're big fans. Don't take our money. Oh God, what else?
So essentially, he just he's the one we were talking about with the banners at humankind, not mutant kind. He was, I don't know if he was examining and torturing these kids for research. They were all mutant kids in this orphanage that we were talking about earlier. They were all in his care, and he had all these people in white, real One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest means...
Oh, yeah, it was heavily
kind of vibe.
Absolutely. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, it was very interesting. But yeah, they basically were corralling these kids and torturing them, and I kind of came into cast. We were talking about earlier. I texted him. I was like, let's talk the ethics of this, because obviously this guy was a huge jerk, and... was a huge jerk, and he... tortured these kids, so to speak. But at the end of the line, I guess at the end of the day, his methodology, his line of thinking that these kids are burdened with so much power, and maybe if we're going to live in a society, we shouldn't have people walking around that should just be able to blow up buildings by waving their arms. I think there's some validity to that, and Cass instantly disagreed, so I think this is going to be juicy. And
how could you, someone who is so adamant about...
Because I got a baby now, and I'm worried about her. She can't do anything. I gotta take care of her for everything.
But first off, that's the whole, the impetus for the interest of the mutant storyline is that should these people be allowed to exist? And the answer that the comics and, your heart should lead you to is yes, of course they should. You think that everyone should be allowed to have a gun. If people are literally born with guns in their fingers, how is that any different?
Okay, the little kid Russell from Deadpool can do way more damage than I could with a gun. Way more, no matter how well trained I was, no matter how many guns I had. These people have way more power than a gun. I feel like that, while that is apt to a degree...
They're people.
Yeah, they're people.
Not... You don't license people to live.
I'm not advocating throwing them in prison. I'm advocating maybe, hey, let's keep an eye on these people, and maybe let's teach them how to either use their powers.
We don't keep an eye on Jet Li, and his hands are literally weapons.
Well, yeah, but that's Jet Li. If you try and tail Jet Li, you're gonna lose him, and you're gonna lose yourself.
Okay.
You heard it first here.
All right, you're gonna lose yourself, but. No, that's kind of the whole moral of the movie is that we have to make choices, and the choices affect those around us. It's hard to talk about, because the X-Men movies, when they're good, what they do really well is they tackle the question we're talking about. But Deadpool is so many different things. It's tackling that in a really strong way that a lot of the other X-Men movies haven't. But it's also
it's still Deadpool.
Penis jokes.
Yeah, it's
on top of penis jokes.
Yeah.
So I don't.
It's a tough question.
No, it's not a tough question. You treat them with love and respect, and you know.
I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm just saying that, okay, so let's go ahead and throw this to the other side of Marvel. Whose side were you on in Captain America: Civil War?
Okay, in the comic or in the movie?
In the movie.
In the movie, okay.
Go ahead and broad stroke that.
Okay, broad stroke it. Yeah. In the movie, I was on the side of...
No, just explain the dilemma.
Okay, all right. In Captain America: Civil War, the governments of the world come together to create a new set of regulations to apply to the Avengers called the Sokovia Accords, because a lot of what the Avengers have done while saving the world has also created a large amount of damage, and the Vision character puts an interesting theory forward that there is a correlation between the rise of superpowered individuals doing good and superpowered individuals doing bad. When Iron Man makes his suit, yes, he's doing it for good, but that technology is then used with Ironmonger to create an evil Iron Man. Thor comes to Earth to do good, but he also brings with him Loki. Captain America, it's a reverse. They have to create Captain America to fight the other super soldier, Red Skull, and the Hulk is kind of in between there. That's what makes the Hulk interesting, but they never really touch on that in the movies because the Hulk movies aren't that good. But, yeah, and it's an interesting question, but I think even with those bad characters in play, it's better to have the Avengers there. Because these bad characters are going to arise anyway. So I'm on the side of Captain America.
So, okay, you said to have the characters there. I don't think anyone was saying let's not have the Avengers there. I think the real question is, like, do you agree to them having any amount of oversight to them? Captain America was more about not having oversight because he said, like, internally we are a smaller group and we are less prone to corruption, so to speak. Like, I understood his case.
All right, from the outside looking in, I believe that if there were a group of Avengers, they should be heavily regulated. But because we see the motivations of these characters in the movie, you have to side with Captain America because he's Captain America. That's the whole point. You know that he is going to do the right thing every time.
I think that kind of gets to like where we divide up between what you're seeing in a movie because you're seeing it from these characters' perspectives versus what it would be in like in real life.
In real life, I would have sided with Iron Man and been like, sign these Sokovia Accords. Because,
So let's shift that to the Fox universe. In the Fox universe, would you have wanted at least some factor of control over all these mutants that have all these ridiculous powers?
It's different because the mutants are born with powers. They don't give themselves these powers. You have to be sympathetic to that.
Okay, no, I could definitely that could be different.
Absolutely. And, your kid could be a mutant.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The Sokovia Accords, while essentially benign, they're politically problematic, but the mutant registrations that they're proposing in the movies are dangerous and harmful and discriminatory. Captain America doesn't have to be Captain America. A mutant has to be a mutant. A black person has to be a black person. A gay person has to be a gay person.
Oh, I see.
That's the difference between X-Men and
and
the rest of the superheroes in the Marvel Universe, which is kind of why I don't want them to come together, because you can tell that story really well in a singular X-Men movie where Iron Man isn't flying around in the background. I mean, obviously they can write it so that it does work. They do in the comics, but I kind of like those stories being separate. But again, that's just me. I also want to see Wolverine fight the Hulk more than I want my action figures to smash together and fight.
Absolutely. Well, no, I think just as kind of a warm-up episode, that was a good place. There wasn't a ton of just ethical dilemma in Deadpool to really go over. So I think it was good for us to kind of practice on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know, we're about 40 minutes in now. I think we might pause. We might bring in
yeah, let's do that, and then let's call
Matt's problems with Deadpool.
Okay, I'll go grab him.
I will wait, and...
Want to yell about Deadpool? Okay, we're back, and we have a very special guest with us. Chandler and I have been talking about how much we love Deadpool, and now we have someone here who didn't quite care for it, and that someone is my partner, Matthew Pearson. Hi, Matt.
Hey.
How's it going?
Pretty well.
How do we know each other?
How do we know each other? Remind me.
Well, I think we're.
I want to hear it from you.
You want to hear it from me? All right. I think we're dating. I think we cohabitate, and I think we raise a puppy together.
Those are some good thoughts.
And we yell at a cat together.
Yeah.
We don't raise the cat. The cat's just a monster.
He's good.
So you are a much bigger fan of comic books than I am. You're a much bigger fan of these characters than I or Chandler. Yeah. So we went and saw Deadpool together, and you were having a really good time until you were not. And there's a lot of things about the movie that you didn't like. You want to just go over some of those with us?
I suppose so. I mean, probably the most...
Yeah.
Oh, God, stop talking.
So, tell us what you didn't like about it.
Hold on, can we just... Let's frame it this way. Matt, from what I heard, went to the movie dressed as a specific character and then got very shafted. And I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, in the middle of the movie, Deadpool recruits a team of mutants to go free this kid called X-Force, and they are based off of a team of mutants in the comic books, and they are quickly dispatched. They are recruited, they have these really awesome superhero introductions, and then they get in the plane and they jump out of it and they all...
So funny, but so awful.
They all die really terrible deaths. And
just one after the other.
One after the other.
Seconds.
All of them except for Domino, one of the characters, but the rest of them die. Which can you tell us a little bit about those characters?
So, yeah, well, see, that's... Over time, I realized that's probably the least offensive of the jokes. Probably just me being hurt about it more than anything. It's a funny joke. It's a funny gag what they did with that. They advertised these characters as being Big part of the a big reveal for the movie. They stunt casted them. All of them are big actors like Terry Crews that people are going to come to see anyways. Shatterstar, I can't remember what his character's name is. He was in Daredevil.
Yeah, he was.
That's Daredevil, right. Yeah. The drunken monkey
ninja guy.
Unfortunately, at no moment did that dawn on me that it was going to be a joke like that. So I got really, really into, I really built up these characters' appearances, especially Shatterstar.
Who you want dressed as?
Right? Dressed as, yes.
You read a bunch of comic books leading up to the movie. I watched you make this costume. You told me all this stuff about Shatterstar that I didn't know, and he was immediately vaporized in the blades of a helicopter.
Yeah.
And then
made fun of.
And then made fun of. Yeah, this character you have come to respect over the last few months.
It's okay. He was a dumb character anyway.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
So personally, the movie hurt you, but you also had other problems with the film other than this personal fanboy issue. Let's talk about the fridging.
Oh my God!
Tell us what fridging is.
Yeah,
and
you brought it up briefly. Right. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah.
So the fridging, the term fridging was coined in the 2000s by a writer named Gail Simone. It specifically refers to a moment in a comic where Kyle Rayner, who was the fourth Green Lantern of Earth, he arrives home to find that a villain has murdered his girlfriend and stuffed her in the refrigerator. The only reason this happened in the comic is to move Kyle Rayner's character's story along further. The fact that she died had nothing really to do with her. It was all about him. And in this movie, they seriously did that. His girlfriend, of course, is killed by mobsters who he failed to stop before, and the entire reason she's in this movie is to provide him with
motivation.
It just added salt to the wound when I heard Ryan Reynolds and the writers talking about this. How the only reason they did that was because they couldn't have anything to do with this character, which is ridiculous. Because this character in the comics is revealed to be another character called Copycat. She's a
Oh, really?
Yeah.
His girlfriend was his copycat?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. They could have done a lot with that. Okay.
Yeah, they never even picked it up. And oh god, they really tried to pat themselves on the back with the whole bring her back at the end thing. That doesn't change the fact that she's been fridged. The whole reason she was in this movie was for that very reason. In fact, it kind of cheapens her death too, even further, or cheapens her involvement even more when they just bring her back at the end. On the little stinger towards the end.
Well, that was actually a very coherent analysis that makes me dislike the movie more now.
Which I actually thought that's what Cable was going to do at the end of the movie. I thought he was
going to bring her back.
Yeah, because he had the time machine.
Didn't he do that in the after credits though?
Deadpool does it.
Okay, is that canon?
It's in the movie, so it happened.
Okay.
I understand. That she's going to be in the next one. Like I said, it cheapens it because it just doesn't even matter that she died.
But now, moving on to another issue of contention, you're a gay man, and this movie was one of the first superhero movies to have representation of gay characters.
Oh, Yukio.
Yukio, yeah, you weren't too crazy about Yukio, so tell us why.
Yukio was a very problematic.
Problematic drink.
Oh,
take a drink, those of you at home.
So, Yukio's problematic.
So the writers and creators of these movies have already admitted that a lot of times they don't actually research characters. All they do is they look at the list of characters that they are able to use from Marvel. They pick a name, they think it's cool, and they build the character around that.
For instance, Negasonic Teenage Warhead in the comics is a telepath, and she's
a clairvoyant.
She's clairvoyant. She can see the future. And the powers she has are from a character named Boom Boom.
Originally, the writers apparently wanted to do a character called Cannonball.
Cannonball.
I knew Cannonball. Yeah.
But they said no, it'll be too easy to do stereotypical hillbilly jokes because Cannonball Sam Guthrie is kind of a hillbilly type character.
He's from the Appalachians.
He's a good old country boy is what he is. He's the best boy, as Jay Miles explained the X-Men podcast likes to put it. But with Yukio, they did the same thing. They just saw the name on the list and built a character around it. What they make though is kind of a racist caricature of the teenage Japanese girl with neon hair. She only has has 3 lines, 2 of which she repeats over and over again. They also kind of just try to break their arms, trying to pat themselves on the back, to talk about how we put this this lesbian character in the movie, but it wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really the thing because she was set dressing the entire time. Mm-hmm. Like she had nothing to do. And a lot of fans were confused because she seemed to have the one time we see her use her powers, it seems to be some type of electrical powers. So a lot of us thought she was another character, Noriko, who is a character called Surge. She has electric powers, another Japanese character.
So they confused one Japanese character with another Japanese character.
Actually, they had no idea of either character really. Yukio in the comics, she's a spy. She's a ninja.
Well, Yukio appeared in the movie The Wolverine and is Wolverine's sidekick in that movie. So they've already had Yukio from the comics once. This is the same character, but it's a different character.
And the fact they
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fact they put this character in the movie just to
that's
this
stunt.
service. Like there's a difference between it not being like a forced caricature, like they're only there because we're lesbians. They were only there so they could say that they gave Negasonic a girlfriend, which they could have done so much better. Right? There's lots of other characters they could have put in there. Even Surge, Noriko would have been a great one there. She's a fan favorite of a lot of us.
Yeah, I think that Negasonic Teenage Warhead was one of the breakout characters of the first one that everybody liked.
I
think they missed an opportunity.
I hated her origin for the movie, and I loved the character after seeing the movie.
They missed a huge opportunity and actually including diversity in the main storyline, not just as you said, set dressing. I think they missed that opportunity big time.
Oh, yes, and Deadpool's pansexuality is a low.
You can say pansexual.
No, yeah. I was just saying a little bullshit.
Oh yeah, don't say that.
Wow, you guys are staying away from that.
We were trying to.
That red E symbol, aren't you?
Well, we're trying to. We're trying to. This podcast is still growing. We're not sure what it is yet.
The pansexuality of Deadpool, they keep talking about how they put the first pansexual character in a movie. No, you haven't. All he does, he keeps harassing Colossus because it makes him uncomfortable. That doesn't seem like the pansexual representation. This reminds me of the bros in high school who make no homo type jokes. And
what evidence is there of his pansexuality aside from them mentioning it?
It's just whenever he's hitting on or he's making gay jokes with Colossus.
That seems like a bit. That doesn't seem like any character development.
Colossus, who in the Ultimate Comics is a homosexual man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an adorable panel where his father catches him with the boy from the next farm over. It's so sad. Yeah. Oh God. And the X-Men's involvement in this movie entirely is upsetting too. Where they show up to respond to the poor mutant kid whose powers are emerging and he's having trouble controlling them. In the comics, that's what they do. They show up and they help these kids. They take them in. They give them a place to stay and a safer place to use their powers, so they don't end up going crazy and being supervillains. In this movie, they seem to only be there to show up, to wrangle the kid and hand them over to ICE. I mean, the mutant services.
Let's be honest. It's ICE. It's ICE.
The reason I thought it was ICE at first is because there's a blown up police car and the only words left on the car are ICE.
Wow.
What?
They send the mutants to a place called the Ice Box, and they function just like ICE. They come in, take mutants, and put them there. And the X-Men seem to help them with it. The X-Men are kind of like class traders.
Yeah, we were talking about that outside.
Yeah.
They were complicit in it. The fact that they knew they existed, and Deadpool was the first one who pointed out that there was a moral objection here, means the X-Men were totally complicit in whatever they were doing.
And the torture that was going on for those kids.
And that's all they do is take
center,
kids that have mutant powers and problems and rehabilitate them. But no, not these kids in this orphanage. Screw those kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And they clearly can. At the end of the movie, when they're raiding the Essex home for mutant children, which I will put a footnote on the word Essex because I will get back to that. A very fanboy thing, not a really narrative thing. But yeah, at the end of the movie, they do take the kids in, so it's not like there was something preventing them from doing that.
Just like, the Essex home's been shut down, I guess we have to take them now.
They show up and hand these kids over to... I'm a big fan of the mutation as queerness metaphor. So it's like they just hand these kids over to gay conversion therapy.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Okay,
Dark.
I mean,
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, you're right. Whenever you look at it,
puts the collar on Rusty Collins or Russell Collins. He's Rusty in the comics. They keep calling him Russell. They make a joke about how Russell's a dumb name, even though they're the ones calling him Russell for no reason.
Right.
Oh, the Essex home. Essex is the name of Nathaniel Essex. It's Mr. Sinister. There was a
Okay.
Yeah, there was a after credit scene in I think the Wolverine or in the
Days of Future Past.
Past?
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse about the Essex Corporation getting a bunch of mutants' DNA and stuff. Anyway, Essex is a reference to Mr. Sinister, who's obsessed with mutants, especially Cyclops. He's a big shipper of Jean Grey and Cyclops because he believes their DNA will make the perfect mutant. Anyway, the fact that was never actually a thing in the movie, it really the guy running the orphanage didn't turn into Essex or turn into Sinister. He wasn't experimenting on the kids to make better mutants. He was just
torturing them because they were evil.
Because they were gay. I mean, mutants.
Yeah.
That was just a really weird missed opportunity. There's a lot of things like that throughout the movie, which I feel like were held over from earlier drafts of the script.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Shatterstar mentions his real name is Russell, which is the name of the kid in the movie, which I feel like there was supposed to be a joke there about that or something, but
interesting.
His name isn't Russell. It's like Gasheen 7 or something like that. It's like a weird clone name for the planet he comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. You caught a lot more. How many times have you seen this movie?
Once.
Okay, yeah, you caught a lot more than either of us did, it seems. That's yeah, definitely got to make Matt reoccurring.
Oh, well. God, the Vanisher.
The Vanisher, okay.
Oh my god, okay. The Vanisher is not the Invisible Man!
Okay, so who is he in the comics?
He teleports!
Well, that makes more sense.
It just doesn't make it... And that's a real fanboy thing, I guess, apparently.
We need fanboy things, though.
Well...
Someone's got to keep these people accountable. It's not going to be me. I don't know enough.
See, Black Tom Cassidy, they totally just put him in it just so they can make the jokes about his Black Tom. Who
is he? Can you broad stroke that for us?
He's Banshee's cousin.
Okay.
His
so he's Irish, like Black Irish thing?
So
okay.
Black Tom was an Irish...
Black Tom's like Black Pete. He's a bad person.
Gotcha, yeah. Well, isn't that...
No.
Okay.
Because it's a different term for... There's a different context for the word black. But, okay, and here's the thing, like, if they want to make stupid jokes about him, they could have. Black Tom's power is that he can generate heat through wood.
Wow.
Like,
so Smokey the Bear's worst enemy, but none of ours, I guess?
Sort of, yeah. Like, he can, like, channel, like, heat through the wood and shoot, like, blasts and stuff from it. That's a hilarious joke. He channels heat through wood.
Through wood, yeah.
Black Tom. Also, he's heterosexual life partners with Juggernaut in the comics. They even raise Banshee's daughter together. They're both in this movie, and the writers never even realized.
It's almost like they never read a comic.
Exactly, and I hate being that person. Did you even read the comic books, man? But
no, I think
you are shaking, and I love it.
I know.
No, there's a need for if it's coming from this source material, there needs to be people who are fluent in the source material to be willing to call these writers out.
I disagree, because I think as long as they're making a good product, that's all that matters. I think you've raised some good points about why this is a bad product. There's some social implications. There are some plot holes that don't make any sense. But the fanboy stuff I don't care about. It's interesting to know. It's because it's fun to compare and contrast, and it does seem like a wasted opportunity because some of these characters, none of the ones you've mentioned, but some of them are fan favorites, and to not include certain aspects is weird.
Oh, Cable.
Yeah, Cable's a fan favorite.
Cable?
And ended on everything wrong with Cable.
Cable, okay, and these are fanboy-ish things, I guess.
Yeah, but Cable is like a big character.
Cable,
he should have been a little more faithful because people have expectations, so go for it.
Super condensed version. Cable is the son of Cyclops and a clone of Jean Grey.
Which they didn't go over at all.
At all. He comes back from the future to stop Apocalypse, not Rusty Collins, who's a minor type character, Apocalypse from Rising and taking over the Earth. It's not mentioned. I even made jokes about I'll riot if they don't mention his connection to Scott Summer to Cyclops, which is another funny joke they could have made. The fact that your father's a teenager and
also older than
you're older
than
than
you.
Your father, like that, and they have a real The relationship's different too in the comics, but that's more of a...
They also didn't make clear what Cable's powers were. In this, he's just kind of like a cyborg.
Okay, in the comics, the reason... So Cyclops and Jean Grey's clone have the baby and stuff. He gets infected by a virus from space. It's a techno-organic virus that turns people slowly into, like...
Borgs.
Borg drones. Yeah.
Hence the Winter Soldier arm in this movie. Yeah.
He's able to use his telekinetic powers he inherited from his mother, the clone of Jean Grey, Madeline Quire. He uses those to suppress the virus from taking him over entirely. There's a scene that shows him looking in the mirror at his hot Josh Brolin body that's slowly being taken over by the virus, and he looks kind of like sad about it. But it's like it's from another script. They never reference that again. There's no reason for us to care that he's being taken over by a nanotech virus. It just doesn't make any sense. Why even keep that part in?
I think that goes back to what you were saying about like original drafts of the script making their way into the final.
Well, they did fire the first director. So, because Ryan Reynolds didn't like the direction the movie was going in, because I think the director wanted to make a more serious film. I think that's my only problem with the movie. I like the movie a lot, A+. It accomplished everything it wanted to do. It's just, it married a lot of different themes that I don't think went very well together. Like the Cable story, I think, is interesting in its own right. It didn't really get told.
Oh, his family's fridge too.
His family is fridged too. Yes.
They changed his son to a girl too to make it more heartfelt. I guess. Call her Hope, which is another character entirely too.
Yeah, let's say I thought Hope Summer was a completely different character.
He's her adopted daughter in the current universe or current timeline.
Well, that still could have been his adopted daughter.
True.
Sure, so. But I mean, like the implication definitely lies.
It's not implied.
She's a big character. She's the mutant messiah. But anyway, she's Jesus.
she's Jesus.
She's mutant Jesus.
You're a Jesus, Hope.
So yeah,
we're at about an hour. I think it's a good place to call it.
I did like Domino.
I like Domino too.
Domino's cool.
She had the best I wasn't sure if they were able to show her powers well. They did perfect.
Oh yeah, they did. They did it with a big joke. Like, how can you show Lux cinematically?
I even love when she landed on the panda.
Oh yeah.
Which is the color scheme of the comic book character.
Yeah.
White, like pale white skin with black eyes.
Yeah, I know that was great.
Funny, but that's something positive I had about the movie, I guess.
Well,
no, yeah. Well,
on a positive note.
Yeah, well,
I tried to. I went and
Flint still doesn't have drinkable water. See, I took it down.
Water. We might kind of continue to do the political stuff and just do like a comic book one once or twice a month. We don't know yet. We're still pretty early into it.
We like to talk.
Yeah, we just like to talk, and you probably don't like to listen, but I mean, we're here just trying to make money by talking.
Please give us money.
Yeah, please give us money.
Where are you, Casper?
Yeah, Casper or Casbeer, either one. Very close words. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed our rather radically new, different direction.
Subscribe to Squarespace.
Subscribe to Squarespace. I just wanted to, before we end this, let's dedicate this podcast to Josh Brolin. One hell of a cinematic month.
Hell of a month.
Hell of a month. Way to go, sir. You did great. Signing off. Thank you for Matt. Matt will come in a lot. Matt's going to be our in-house comic expert. So, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you again soon.